Welcome to Basel GH, the other sports edition. I'll tell you what, today we're bringing you some exciting stories which we'll be delving into. First of all, we will be touching base on the sanction on Roman Abramovich, the Russian oligarch. His assets in the UK has been halted by the UK government, and Chelsea have been hit heavily, which is something we're going to talk about. And also, the FA, the Ghana Football Association, are yet to release the squad list to play the doubleheader between themselves and Nigeria. They are saying that they want it to be a surprise, and I'm sure it's something my colleagues who are already seated will be telling us more on that. And then we'll be also looking or zooming straight into the UEFA Champions League, where Manchester United will be entertaining Atletico Madrid at Old Trafford. And tell you what, Ronaldo has hit the ground running, scoring a hat-trick against Tottenham Hotspur in their Premier League future. We're doing a quick turn. When we come back, we'll bring you all the details. All right, so welcome back to Basel GH, the sports edition. Don't forget, you can join us or follow us on all our social media platforms, Basel GH on Facebook, Twitter, and also on YouTube as well. Just hit the subscribe button and you can get all our news as it comes, or anytime we do our posts, you can get all of them. But I'm in company with Jose Akwe and also Safas Mbwaju, who will be helping me delve into matters arising on what we've been talking about. Welcome, gentlemen, and thanks for your time on the Basel GH show.
Oh, thank you.
Great. Let's set the ball rolling, shall we? And let me start off with you, Jose. We just understand, or we knew, that Roman Abramovich, obviously, it's been about, let me say, 2 or 3 years now, the UK government don't even want to step foot in the UK. Now we understand that the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the UK government are saying that Roman Abramovich has got a hand in that because he's an ally with Putin, the president of Russia, and so he has a hand in that. And now all his assets in the UK, including Chelsea Football Club, is in danger. And what we understand is even Chelsea cannot even spend as more as £20,000, and this is looking devastating for the Chelsea Football Club, isn't it?
Yes, Ali, it's quite tough for them. I think no one wants to be a Chelsea fan at this particular point, because we didn't see this coming, did we? We just knew that he had his visa revoked, so he couldn't travel to the UK. He had to do that via Russia. Israel. He had to get that's a passport, or a visa, from Israel before he could enter the UK. But this is his asset we are talking about. This is his biggest, or one of his biggest assets in the UK we are talking about. And this is a bit political, because we all knew that when Russia invaded Kiev initially, he was one of the mediators we had that was going to, they called a truce, and he was the one going to mediate between Zelensky and also Putin. But I think the UK government wasn't so impressed with that. They were not moved by that, by hearing that Abramovich was going to be a mediator, between these two countries. They feel he's an ally to Putin, and they believe that, the only way they could get to Putin is by, halting all his activities, and also, sanctioning him in the UK. And that's what we are hearing, because it looks like each and every day there's a new sanction, and this keeps on driving all the sponsors away from the club. Just about some few days ago we heard that the 3 mobile phone company have withheld their sponsorship with the club. It's only Trivago that are still holding on to their contract. Nike is also and also we had that Hyundai there's also suspending their contract with the team. And there were lots of sanctions, and even there was a threshold of £20,000 that they couldn't even out or overspend or go beyond those expenses whenever they travel away from home in the English Premier League, which doesn't really look good for them. There's a team that wouldn't be able to buy players. There's a team that wouldn't be able to, even sign contracts with players. And it just doesn't look good for them. For Abramovich, even he came out to say that he doesn't care if he doesn't make a penny out of selling the club, because already he handed the club over to, some trustees to deal with the daily activities, of the club. But it seems like the UK government, they aren't convinced with all the things he started doing. They feel it's just, a ploy, a gimmick, to get away with, a lot of things. And that's reality now. This is what the Chelsea franchise is facing. And it looks harsher. For me, I believe it's quite harsh for them. And we're just hoping that things, could be normalizing a bit, going forward.
Say for us, if you look at what I say Chelsea now, as a football club, they are the current Champions League winners. They are, Champions League holders. They're, Club World Cup holders. And given that this is something huge that is surrounding the club, psychologically, does it play into the minds of the players? Does it play into the minds of the team as a whole? They are still in the UEFA Champions League. We shouldn't forget that. And they will look to achieve something this season. But if you take a look at what has hit them now, we know they've already beaten Norwich in this same circumstances, but would it last long? Can they go on win games, or you think psychologically it can hit them at a point?
So this is where the manager of the team will play a critical role. I've listened to Thomas Tuchel on a few occasions since this whole thing started panning out, and I believe he's handled it really, really well. A few interviews he has granted, like in terms of his, approach to answering the questions, I think it's been top notch. Yes, the situation at Chelsea now, a lot of people didn't see it coming. Since 2003, when Abramovich bought the team for about £140 million, they've chopped a lot of successes along the years. He's won about 21 trophies in total, and since that time and now, Chelsea has become a global brand, and football now is business. If someone invests into football, of course, because it's business, you expect the person to make returns out of it. And if you look at what is hitting Chelsea now, the one who will suffer most is the team as a club, and of course the one putting the money in the club. And it's the mere fact that no one saw it coming is the main reason why it will hit the club very, very hard. And that's why I'm saying that I need to credit Thomas Tuchel for how he's handled the situation all this while. Look, yes, I'm told they can be able to make some money out of gate proceeds and all that. A lot of fans who have season-long tickets can still go to the stadium. Yes, they can make a few money here and there, but a chunk of what they make actually now has been put on hold, and that is where it will affect the team to a greater effect. Key players like Rudiger, Christensen, Aspilicueta, they'll be virtually free agents this summer, and these are players that a lot of big clubs are knocking on the door to lure away from the Stamford Bridge. And if your team finds itself in a situation like this, it clearly tells you what actually is happening in the club. And for me, I think it's so unfortunate that a big club like Chelsea, of course, they become one of the top European clubs, have to deal with this at this particular moment. And of course, as my colleague rightly spoke about, they have nothing to do about it. It's mere fact that Roman Abramovich has one or two allies with the Russian president, and if you really want to dig deep into it, clearly he's guilty with a lot of charges being raised against him. So it's all about Chelsea trying to navigate this whole issue the right way. I think with a matter of time, yes, potential buyers will still come on board. And it's not just about buyers, it's about buyers who understand football. It's about buyers who take over from Abramovich and do things the right way. Clearly, he's someone who understands football, and it's the reason why, when he pumped money into the team has moved in the positive direction. Look at what is happening in PSG now. A team that clearly you could see they are so obsessed with winning trophies. They want to win the Champions League and all. Yes, with the French league they are doing so well, but where it matters most, clearly you could see that the team is lacking some form of mentality when it comes to football, and that is what Abramovich came to correct at Chelsea. So for me, it's about if the club, yes, will have to be sold, then it has to fall in the right hands, people who understand the game. If not, it's going to be a very huge blow for Chelsea.
I mean, Josiah, tell you what, I mean, before we wrap up on this matter, I mean, we saw last week that Kenya were banned by FIFA because there was a government intervention. It's happening the same with Chelsea. Yeah, we know that Russia are invading Ukraine, but it's a political thing. It's a governmental thing. And so why do they attach Chelsea into this matter? Why did they draw Chelsea into this matter? We know that, yes, Abramovich is the owner of Chelsea, but this is a footballing club, and Chelsea has nothing to do with the invasion of Ukraine. And so why doesn't FIFA come in to ban Chelsea? Because it looks like it's a government interference with a football club and also with the government. So why is FIFA keeping mute on this matter?
Yeah, so you look at sport and you look at politics and you can't say, you know, mutually they are exclusive. No. At a point, you know, it's like they coincide, you know, at a point they meet, you know, that's football and politics. You could see this advocacy for, is it racism, where players even take the knee before games. That's, you know, that's politics, but it's in football. So sometimes you just can't, you know, take away sports from politics. You can't take politics away from sport. And, you know, this has got to do with humanity. This has got to do with lives, you know, and it's the most important thing. Football comes second. This is life, you know. The world feels Russia has no right to invade another country, a sovereign country. You know, yes, they used to be part of the USSR and all that, but now they are independent and they're a sovereign country. So the world feels like, why should he invade another country? This is a message to Putin. But unfortunately, you know, football has a lot to say in this particular issue. They believe that sport, you know, even though sometimes sport is the medium used to build bridges. This time around, people feel that this is the medium we can use, you know, to sort things out. Because you look at other sectors like business, and you could see that heavy sanctions have been imposed on Russia already, which they don't feel like, it's like they are okay. But this time around, they are using sport. And, you know, we could take it even away from football. In Formula One, there's this Formula One driver for Haas, and Nikita Mazepin. He's a Russian. He has nothing to do with this invasion. But he had his contract terminated by the Haas team. That sounds unfair to me. It sounds unfair, but that is the message they are sending out. They are trying to use every avenue they could get. You know, every single avenue they could get to reach Putin, and that's what we are seeing. Yes, football and politics shouldn't be, you know, just mixed up. Politics should be politics. Football should be football. Sport should be sport. But there's a time that, you know, we are fighting for humanity. We are fighting for peace.
So you think I mean, FIFA keeping mute is fair? I mean, you also think so?
Absolutely. Even if, yes, one or two things are not being handled the right way, I believe FIFA shouldn't just step in now. Now is the time for FIFA to also assess whatever is going on. Yes, there shouldn't be that mix between government and football, but I think it will be so much.
We've seen FIFA already even ban, I mean, the Russian national team.
Absolutely. You know, the main reason why this whole thing is being handled this way by FIFA, especially when it comes to Chelsea as a club. Chelsea is one of the assets of Abramovich. And that is not the only asset he has. He's got so many, you know, assets around. But Chelsea is one of the biggest assets he has. So, and if you talk about Chelsea as a club, or Chelsea as one of his assets, because it's a whole brand on its own, it's not just one person we are talking about. It's a whole lot of, you know, from footballers to technical staff to a whole lot of
fans as well.
Absolutely. So FIFA can't just come out and say no, they are stepping in, they are putting a ban. No, it will have to take time. If we sit here and we pretend FIFA is not probing into matters, we are telling lies. FIFA obviously doing what they need to do, but I believe they are handling it, you know, the right way. They are taking their time before, if need be, they step in. Because I don't think it would be right now for FIFA to come out, you know, try to ban Chelsea and all that. I think it's a little bit premature.
All right, we'll still, I mean, wait to see what happens, what unfolds between Roman Abramovich and the UK government. Now that they've suspended or they've sanctioned him, we'll still wait to see what happens and what lies ahead for Chelsea. We'll be taking a break. When we come back, we'll be looking ahead to the FA, the Ghana Football Association, where they're still yet to release the squad list to play against Nigeria, which they are saying that they want it to be a surprise. We'll work with them. All right, welcome back to Basel, the sports edition. We already touched base on the sanction of Roman Abramovich by the UK government, which my colleagues actually had to speak intensively about that. But then we'll be moving away from that within some local story where the Black Stars squad has still not been released yet by the FA, the Ghana Football Association, which they are saying that they want it to be a surprise to all of us. We don't know what sort of surprise they want to give us, but I'm sure my colleagues here who will tell us more about that. But I mean, we've not seen this before. We've had a series of World Cup qualifying games. I mean, right from in the 90s, 2006, where we had to qualify to our very first World Cup in Germany. Fast forward in 2010, we were there, we didn't see this happen. And in 2018, we didn't also see this happen. But why now are the FA holding back to release, our squad for a crucial game against Nigeria, which is about 2 weeks now?
Yeah, it's quite mind-boggling to understand or fathom the whole issue, because this is a very, very crucial game we have. A double-legged tie. Ghana, Nigeria. They are our bitterest rivals. On the African continent, and you have such a game of high magnitude, coming off. And as we speak, the list or the squad list hasn't yet been released. So the question you ask is why? What are they waiting for? What we are hearing is that the management team are saying that they have to sit and assess the squad before they can release it. And the question you ask again is, what are they going to do with the squad? After assessing it, are they going to make some inclusions? Are they going to make some omissions? Because that's what we heard, from the management team. Because it still doesn't make sense. We are playing against a Nigerian team that looks more prepared. Even after that debacle, in Cameroon, they came back. They had everything sorted out. They had Emunike as their coach. They brought in Joseph Yobo. A couple of them. Ergovan went back to his role as a technical advisor. This is a team. This is a country with focus, because they know what they want. It's like they have a clear vision as to what they want, And there's a Ghanaian side that it took time before we even got to know who was going to lead the team, in this two-legged tie. Now, Nigeria have released their squad. Ghana are yet to release the squad. And you ask why? What is keeping the management team waiting? Is that something they are going to do? Because I believe we hired Otuado because of his expertise. We believed in what he has. Technically, tactically, we believed in him, that he's the man to lead Ghana all the way to Qatar. So after, employing him, giving him the mantle, to take the team all the way to Qatar, he comes out with a 23-man squad, a 25-man squad for a World Cup qualifier. He hands the list over to you. So what do you do as a technical team or as a management team? You just, okay, this is the team. We just hand it over for everyone to know that, okay, this is the team we are going with. Because sometimes even the fans or, the citizens, the Black Star supporters sometimes even have opinions, about these players. Sometimes, we cry for some players, to be added to the team. So why don't you do it now? So if there is any mistake anywhere, we could all correct it. Say, okay, this player is good enough. Why don't we call this player? But it looks like they are so comfortable after all what happened in Cameroon. It's like we just keep on, playing, doing things casually, so passively without any sense of urgency. And trust me, I just don't know how or what the outcome of the game between Ghana and Nigeria is going to be. But should we keep on doing things this way? I think at the end of the day, it's really going to affect us.
Sefa, we have a better head-to-head record against Nigeria. And there's a team that they look more like ever ready to play Ghana. And they look more serious than to be in Qatar 2022 than Ghana. But having said that, this is a national side where obviously we're yearning for one or two inclusion, which they have said in recent weeks or in recent times that they don't want to be around the national team. Probably it could be something where when the lineup has been released, it could put a smile on all Ghanaian faces. So don't you think that what the step they are taking is in the right direction?
for me, I think we can't sit here and kid ourselves, okay, that the players who represent us against Nigeria have not been reached out. I believe whoever will play a role in that two-legged tie knows he's going to be part.
Okay.
What we don't know now is we don't know those players who are going to play a part in that fixture. And that is where I think they've not been fair to Ghanaians. Now, having said that, I look at this Black Stars team after the AFCON, or during the AFCON, the shambolic performance of the Black Stars team, how there was a clarion call by almost everyone that, look, this team is not good enough, even to stand Nigeria in a two-legged tie for a playoffs in the World Cup proper. And then everyone is like, look, there are some players in there who don't deserve call-ups. And of course, some of us, we've seen it. There are one or two players in there who, if you clearly monitor their performances with their various clubs, you could clearly see, look, this person doesn't warrant a place in the Black Stars. Look at Walcott, the goalkeeper, for instance. There were some players in the Black Stars team during the AFCON that were very poor. And look, the harsh reality is, since 2015 or so, Black Stars has been on the decline. Not even Black Stars alone. It cuts across 17, under 20. If you critically monitor, you could see clearly that the team has been on a decline. And so that begs the question, how do we want to approach this game? Are we looking at qualifying for the World Cup? Of course, with all the glamour it comes with, go to the World Cup, all the money is to come with, or we are ready to reset the pattern, give ourselves maybe a 5-year plan, rebuild a proper Black Stars team. That is the two questions here. And I'm beginning to think probably the FA is beginning to look at the latter. That is a team that they will start building. A team that will be ready to compete proper. Because look, no matter what, no one can convince me. Yes, we may have a better head-to-head record than Nigeria. But in terms of players, in terms of the quality of players now plying their trade wherever across the whole world, I think the Nigerians have got a better squad and a better team to beat Ghana to qualify to the World Cup. Yes, in instances where it's a two-legged tie or a one-off tie, anything can happen. But then there are rumors. I've heard one or two names, one or two young players who have been called. There are rumors that the likes of Salisu and co have been spoken to. Look, it's the national team, and we need the best to play for the national team. Having said that, for me, I think we shouldn't just look at this World Cup. It's a team that has virtually hit its lowest ebb. We need to start looking at the future. We need to start planning proper. If not, yes, one or two players will be called. We may end up beating Nigeria, qualify for the World Cup. And I tell you what, if this performance in Cameroon is going to be repeated in the World Cup, then I think it's better we don't go. So for me, I think we should start looking at planning proper. Give ourselves some time. If it's a 5-year project, look at what Senegal did with Cissé. Aliou Cissé. A lot of teams across the African continent are beginning to, toe that line. And I think Black Stars, Ghana, it's time we begin to look in that direction. How many years now we fail to win the AFCON? It's because we keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. There should be proper plan. Lose or win against Nigeria, fair enough, but let's have a plan.
Obviously, we should have a plan, and that is what Saif Al-Ndugbaji is saying. And I think I side with that. And we shouldn't just look beyond Nigeria header, because the abject performance we put out there in Cameroon is something we have to sit back, go to the drawing board, and start planning for what lies ahead of us. We want to use young players this time around in the national team. I'm sure that is a way to go. And so there should be a proper planning with the Black Stars team. And I'm sure in the next 5 or so years, we should be competing for top titles and challenging top teams, but not to just look ahead of this Football Mundial in Qatar in 2022. Having said that, we'll be circling at a break, and when we come back, we'll be touching base on Manchester United and Atletico Madrid. We'll go neck to neck and the UEFA Champions League round of 16 second leg tie. We'll be right back with more. Alright, so welcome back to Basel GH Sports Edition. And now we'll be zooming straight into the UEFA Champions League. Tell you what, this week is going to be action-packed, where Manchester United will welcome a Spanish counterpart, Atletico Madrid, at Old Trafford. And then Juventus will be at the Allianz Arena in Turin to entertain Villarreal, who will be coming to town. And then Ajax also will be other Ajax Amsterdam will face Benfica in that one, and then the very final game, which is going to be between Chelsea, who will jet into France to take on Lille. The very first leg was a mere formality for Chelsea, which they had to ride on over Lille Metropole. But then we'll be touching base on all those games before we talk about Manchester United and Atletico Madrid. But then Juventus went to Stadio della Ceramica and they had to play a 1-1 draw. You think this could be another chance for Unai Emery's side to make a case for themselves?
When the draw came out and I saw that fixture, I just knew it was going to be one of those close games. But if you look at the old lady's pedigree when it comes to this competition, you would want to stick your neck out that over 2 legs they should have enough, to get past the Villarreal header. Yes, we saw Juventus take an early lead in the first game. Dani Parejo came back brilliantly to pull parity for Villarreal in the second half. It was a very close game, if you ask me, but then it will be decided this week. And if you look at Juventus and how they've been able to pick up the pieces, especially in the Serie A, how they failed to start the league on a very good note, but suddenly they find themselves within distance, short distance of making the top 4, and even pushing for the Serie A itself. It tells you the kind of mentality a team like Juventus has. And in a game like this, I tell you what, Villarreal have to come with their A game. Unai Emery, we know his exploits in Europe. In the Champions League, he doesn't really fare too well. It's in the Europa League that we get to see a lot of his heroics. Against Juventus at the Allianz Stadium, I tell you, they need to take their chances as and when they come, because I feel the chances will come very few, if you ask me. At the back, we know Juventus are a solid team. They are a team that failed to concede so many chances, let alone concede goals. And that is why I believe the likes of Danjuma would have to be, key elements for Villarreal going into this game. Of course, the captain, fantastic. Dani Parejo will also have to come good. They have a lot of, good players in there who are able to turn things over when things are not good.
And also Jeremy Pino, who has been incredible for them in the last few weeks, isn't it?
He even bagged 4 goals in a single La Liga game recently, becoming the youngest teenager to do so. And so they have the personnel, but as to whether they have the mentality on a big night like the Champions League, that is where I begin to have a few question marks. But yes, now that there are no away goal rules in the Champions League, if they're able to replicate the 1-1 draw in Spain, and they can push the game into extra time, and who knows? But then I still would side with Juventus to have a slim win and march on into the quarterfinal.
I mean, tell you what, I had to visit Portugal, where they had to play Benfica. The last time these two sides met, they played a 1-1 draw in Benfica, and Ajax had to win the reverse fixture or the following fixture in Ajax. In Holland. Could it be a case of a deja vu again?
I doubt. You look at the quality of this Ajax team and the personnel managing the team, and you could see that there's a top team that could go boot for boot with any other team in Europe. They wouldn't be scared. There's an Ajax team that beat Madrid, home and away some few seasons back. There's an Ajax team that nearly made it to the Champions League final in 2019. There's an Ajax team that has young talent blended with, experience. You could go on and mention the players, right from the goalkeeping department to the attacking department. And they became one of the very few teams to win all 6 group stage games, which, is an incredible feat for such a team. And, you have most or top teams in, Europe who have never even done such a thing or recorded such, an amazing feat. So you look at this Ajax team, yes, they were unlucky when they traveled all the way to Estadio da Luz and they had to, you know, play out for a 2-2 draw. Even after Sebastian Haller had put a ball into his own post, but he made amends for it.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But, you know, it's going to be very, very tough for Benfica. You look at this Ajax team, and, you know, sometimes in Europe, playing away from home is quite difficult. You know, playing, you know, in away stadiums with all the fans around, it's quite daunting for you. But even to look at the fact that it's a 2-2 draw in the first leg, you know, it's wide open, yes. But I'm talking about the quality of this Ajax team and how, you know, they don't falter in big games like this. We've seen them. They've made it past the group stages, you know, in how many seasons? 4 or 5 seasons, you know, running. There's an Ajax team that has, you know, they have the quality in there. Haller, who is, I don't know if he's still the top scorer in the Champions League.
No, it's now,
I'm sure it's Lewandowski with 12, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
he still has 11
goals.
in how many games? 7 or so, which is quite incredible for a
Absolutely.
striker who made it to the Premier League, but, you know, didn't find his niche over there and had to go all the way to the Netherlands. And he's one of the top number 9s in world football now. You can't take that away from him. So I believe it's going to be a long 90 minutes for Benfica, you know, looking at this Ajax team and, you know, how relentless they are sometimes. I believe they need to put up, you know, their best performance on a day should they want to, you know, even have a sniff of qualifying to the next round. But I'm just going for Ajax. I'm going for an Ajax.
So the Johan Cruyff Arena, you think Ajax are going?
I believe Ajax will just.
But then a quick one on Chelsea. Chelsea play against Lille. What do you make of it? It's going to be a walkover for Chelsea.
Walkover. Well, if you look at the evidence of the first leg at the Stamford Bridge, Chelsea won by 2-0. That will make it a mountain to climb for Lille in France. But if you look at the quality they have, the likes of Renato Sanchez, brilliant midfielder if you ask me. They've got key players in there who can make life difficult for Chelsea.
Jonathan David is in there. Burak Yilmaz is also in there.
Exactly. But if you look at the experience Chelsea has been able to amass over the years in the Champions League, you would want to think that it's a tie they should easily go to France and wrap up quickly and make match on into the quarterfinal. Yes, I think Leo will pose a few threats here and there. Yes, they may be able to find the back of the net, give Chelsea a few scare here and there. But I think in terms of player quality, in terms of, you know, collectively playing as a unit, solid team like Chelsea will should have enough to be able to make it to the quarterfinal.
Let's see if indeed Chelsea can still have enough to be in the quarterfinals for, relatively the second time running in the last few years. And tell you what, Lille stand in their way. But the Arsenals that they've got, that is the likes of Ben Hatem, Ben Arfa, Burak Yilmaz, the legendary striker for the Turkish side, as well as Jonathan David, the Canadian, who has found his form recent weeks. Let's see if they can actually give Chelsea a tough headache. But having said that, the very last one is going to be Manchester United against Atletico Madrid, the very first one, which had to end in a 1-1 draw, where Joao Felix had to put Atletico Madrid in the commanding lead. But then it was cancelled out by another young chap, that is Anthony Elanga, just at the death. And so the second leg will come up in England at Old Trafford, where a certain Cristiano Ronaldo won't stop scoring against a Simeone side. He's already banged a hat-trick against Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League. I mean, can Ronaldo do it yet again?
I think the beast in him has been awoken, and this is typical Ronaldo, vintage Ronaldo. We saw him, you know, that's Ronaldo, the Ronaldo we know, you know, a player of character, player made for the big games. And he stood up tall, you know, he was just there, and, you know, that is why we call him the GOAT. And, you know, arguably he's one of the greatest of all time to have ever played the game. And he's coming up against one of his favorite sides, Atletico Madrid, a side that he has never been kicked out or, you know, lost to, you know, or in such circumstances, exactly, in the Champions League. And, you know, this a Manchester United, even though you could say that, you know, at least this Manchester United team could, you know, tap into that, you know, effervescence, you know, in Ronaldo, that confidence he plays with. Because yesterday, you look at the game against Tottenham Hotspur, and it's like everyone went missing, and he showed up. Everyone just was nowhere to be found, and there came the man. And this is another Simeone side he wants to play against, his favorite opposition. You know, Manchester United, you know, over some few weeks now, haven't really been themselves. They look a pale shadow of themselves. They haven't found the purple patch. You know, they play it's like almost every game they play is of two halves, different halves. A good first half, a poor second half, either a poor first half or a good second half. And, that's one thing that has really been haunting them. You look at their game against Atletico Madrid, and they were so fortunate that Atletico Madrid didn't even double the lead before, they were able to equalize. But they can't keep on making such, mistakes in high-profile games like that. This is an Atletico Madrid team that knows how to beat the big boys. He knows how to deal with the big guns. He did it at, what's the name, Allianz Arena. He did it at Anfield. This is a team that knocked Barcelona out. This is a team that knows how to play the Champions League. And, for Manchester United to come against such a team, I believe they have nothing to lose, because you look at their league form, which tells you that they are really struggling. Yes, they are struggling. But with Ronaldo leading the lines for them, I think, this should be a game they should win. They shouldn't even struggle to win against this Atletico Madrid team, because you have all the arsenals. You have, all the ammunition. You have the likes of Bruno Fernandes, who could make a return after not, making an appearance against Tottenham Hotspur. You have Ronaldo himself. You have De Gea in post. You have Varane, a 4-time Champions League winner. We could mention Harry Maguire, yes, the skipper out the side. But, these are, quality players, that on a day they should be able to, win against Atletico Madrid. They don't have any excuse not to win against Atletico Madrid. Yes, we understand what Atletico Madrid are bringing to the table, but this should be a Manchester United win.
João Felix has found form in recent weeks. There's a young chap that, when the season started, he didn't really come to the party. He's the reason why Suarez has been put on the bench for the last 3 weeks now. He scored goals in, quick successions. The last 3 games which he's played, he scored in the opening 10 minutes for Atletico Madrid. He did so against United. He's done so against Cadiz last time on. Even with a 10-man down, Atletico Madrid managed to win the game. Coming to Old Trafford, a place where, yes, obviously the Ronaldo factor is in there, but then Atletico Madrid knows how to beat the big boys. Can they do it again?
For me, if I look at this fixture, one key department of the game that I feel will be very, very critical is the defense of both teams. I look at Atletico Madrid, and this is not the vintage archetypal Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. Back in the day, they defend for their lives. They were such a resolute unit that you could barely even sniff spaces in and around the penalty box. There's been a lot of, call for him to vary his tactics a bit. And if you look at his team in the past 2 or so years, they've been a little bit expansive. And that explains why they are beginning to chip in or concede goals. Having said that, look at Manchester United. On the average, they've conceded at least 2 goals in the last 4 games or so. And that has been the narrative all throughout the season, even with Ole before Rangnick took over. They are a team that are prone to errors at the back, a team that almost every game will give up chances. That is why I'm saying that it's in defense that this game will be won. So the team that I feel will defend better on the day will stand a better chance of carrying the day. You spoke about João Felix, brilliant chap. One player that a lot think or a lot feel that Diego Simeone is not really utilizing his potential. Brilliant player in terms of his offensive play, but because of the ideology behind Simeone's football, he almost always finds himself defending rather than use his arsenals to devastating effect. And so I think that, yes, if you look at Manchester United, there is Cristiano Ronaldo, there is Bruno Fernandes, there is Sancho, who is beginning to rediscover his Dortmund form. They have players who can hurt you on the offensive, but it's at the back. Sometimes you look at them and it's the mentality of the team. Look, if you look at most of their games this season in the EPL, they start very well in the first half, and then the moment they march onto the field in the second half, it's as if they've forgotten the basics. And it's mostly in the second half that they tend to concede a lot. And it's one thing they need to be wary of going into this time. Yes, the first time they met, I think in the Champions League, was in that 1-1 drawn game last 2 weeks at the Wanda Metropolitano, like you did rightly mention. It was a game that Atletico Madrid should have put to the sword, if you ask me, in the first half, even before United could sniff a chance of equalizing in the second half. Like I said, there will be chances, there will be goals at Old Trafford, but the team that will defend better on the day will stand a chance. We saw Ronaldo with Juve a few seasons back. They went to Spain, lost by 2-0, and then they came back to Turin, and Ronaldo reminded them that he is the man. He bagged the hat-trick and knocked Atletico out of the Champions League. He knows what it takes to play in such situations. He has the mentality for it. If he's fit, good news for Manchester United. If he's not, bad news for Manchester United. So with Cristiano Ronaldo on the pitch, United will always stand a chance. How Atletico Madrid will deal with him at the back remains to be seen.
Thank you very much indeed, Sylvus Ngozi, and also Jose Akwe, who help in telling us or inciting us about matters arising on the day. But tell you what, Cristiano Ronaldo will always be Cristiano Ronaldo. In the game against Tottenham Hotspur, he scored his 59th career hat-trick for club and country, and he just, no, it looks like nobody can stop him right now. When he's in that mood, absolutely, there's no team stopping him. He faces Atletico Madrid, a side which he knows how to beat them. He knows how to score against them. We wait to see whether Atletico Madrid's defense can stop Cristiano Aviero dos Santos Ronaldo. For myself and from the entire crew, I'll say you should go onto Facebook and also all our social media platforms. It's Basel GH. Just go like the page, follow the page, and also on YouTube, subscribe to Basel GH, and you would have plenty of this with regards to sports. Until then, we'll see you same time again. Bye.